hopefully you've woken up. So I don't know what your day was like. I don't care. I'm here to help you and pick it up. If you are brand new to this channel, you're in for a treat. So we go about 2 hours. I'm going to take the first 20 minutes. I'm going to teach you about price reductions, and then we basically open up the live. But when we get in the lives, here's the only thing I ask is let's bring solutions. Let me try to help you out. If you get on here and like complain, I can listen to you, but it's not going to make you any money. So those are the rules. Make the best use of your time and try to have your questions like ready to go. And don't let it bleed to like 19 questions. Like be respectful of people's time because I try to help out as many people as possible. So without further ado, let me jump into it here. Let me shrink my head down here somewhere. Okay. So we're talking about how to talk down the seller's price. Okay. And this isn't just when you initially go under contract. I'm going to talk about like any time that you have to get a reduction. And honestly, it can start in the beginning. It can start all the way to the end. I'm going to walk you through it. So I've kind of abbreviated my presentation because I know the subject so well, and I would like to work with you guys like one-on-one and help you with it. So number one, understand, I always say this to everybody, all words have meanings to the sellers. Use them wisely, okay? Everything you're saying to the sellers, they are hyper-focused on what you're presenting to them. So you have to be prepared. You can't just go out there and completely wing it, okay? It is an art form, okay? But I don't want you to get to the point where you don't practice at all and then you get nervous when you go out there. Timing and tonality are just as important as the words themselves, okay? It's not always just the words. Remember, almost 70% of communication is nonverbal. So it's your hands, your face, your eyes, the tone, how loud you are, the speed of the words, how slow they are, all this stuff counts. And you guys know, like a lot of the stuff drives people crazy. It drives sellers crazy. How do I know this? Because I've had so many people do this with me. So Olivia says, she says, make sure I have my running shoes on. So I usually go running. Like I like to go out for a 5-mile jog. I'm not a super fast guy, but man, it's really hot in Florida. So I enjoy this live because I'm in the nice AC and I love talking about wholesaling. So running is a whole different story. So it's a funny comment on that. So, okay. So here is the first thing you've got to understand. This is where most people screw up price reductions. Okay. You guys got to stop over analyzing comps and price. So many of you want to solve what the perfect price is right when you talk to your sellers that you miss the point of wholesaling. I'm telling you, if you only get this slide, take it. And I do this with the one-on-ones with you guys is you don't want to sit there and spend tons of time analyzing properties because the most important thing you can focus on is motivation. Here's the secret to wholesaling. If there's no motivation there, you're most likely not getting a good deal. You're going to have to pay close to retail. And I don't teach that part of the business. So if you try to present it to me and Zach, I can't help you. That's called regular real estate, and you can go get a real estate agent, okay? You are not a realtor if you're a wholesaler. Some of you are both. That's a whole different discussion. I'm not knocking on it. It's just not my vibe. I don't want to be a realtor. I don't have my realtor's license because I don't want to be trained and certified as a realtor. Does it give you more access to stuff? Yes. Creates a ton of liability, okay? So if you don't want to be a realtor, why would you operate like a realtor? You know what realtors do? They analyze comps to death. And I'll let you a little secret. A lot of realtors just stick a high price on it and sort it out. A lot of you guys do the same thing too. You stick a high price on it and you try to sort it out later. And you can't operate like that it's not wholesaling when you do it that way. Okay. Number two, you please accept this one. Okay. Once you stop overanalyzing comps and prices, honestly, I spend very little time on this. When I first speak to a seller, I am focused on one thing. I'm going to wait for you to put it in the comments. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Number two, you're going to screw up the price. I'm going to say it again. I still to this day screw up the price. You are doing somewhat of an estimate, okay? You are never going to nail the price perfectly. That's why you want to get it as low as possible. So David's correct. I focus on motivation. A lot of you focus on price and comps, and you are literally wasting your time on it, okay? I've had people spending hours trying to figure out the comps and the price. The reality is, like David says here, if you don't have the motivation, it's not going to work. And I know that frustrates a lot of you, but it's the truth of wholesaling. If you do not have someone that is motivated, and then the motivation, like the level of motivation is going to be indicative of the type of deal you're going to get. It's so important. But so many times we skip over the motivation, we go straight to price and comps. And I'm telling you, if you do that with wholesaling, it is going to take you out. You are going to burn out so quick. Why spend hours analyzing a property if you have no idea if they're even going to do a deal with you? So, guys, I want you to do it the other way around. Focus on motivation, gather data, and then we'll put the offers together. And I'm going to get into like on how we do it. So I appreciate it, David. Thank you. So Michael's right. I'm not going over conditioning today, but guys, honestly, if you do not seek out motivation sooner than later, you are literally wasting your time in wholesaling. Okay. I'd rather you just deal with one or two motivated sellers and go about your life than sit here and deal with 90 tire kickers that really need realtors to convince them to do the deal, because that is where your frustration lies. Okay. You show me a deal you're struggling with. If I dig into the motivation 9 times out of 10, it's just not there. It's the truth. Nobody wants to tell you this in a course, but I'm telling you in 20 years, this slide's probably the most important one I'm going to share with you. Not the only most important one, but and the fact that you have permission to screw up to give the wrong offer. It happens sometimes. Okay, Rick, I screwed up the price. How do I fix it? That's what we're here to talk about today, okay? So guys, stop operating like a realtor. Do not spend a ton. If you're spending more than 10, 15 minutes on comping something, you're doing it wrong, okay? That comes in the underwriting after you have it under contract, never in the very beginning, okay? You have to focus on the motivation. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. Okay. So how do we attack price reductions? So I'm going to give you some ground level stuff that you have to understand. So number one, just keep it simple, stupid. You have to talk to sellers and keep it simple. The more you complicate it, the more you complicate this business, the tougher time you're going to have with everything. So number one, just keep it super simple. Make your points very clear. The second one is talk at a third grade level. Honestly, I struggle with this one. When I first started, I tried to talk above sellers and I missed a lot of really good deals. If you talk on the same level with your sellers or actually below them, then you can't really insult them because you're not going to talk over them. You guys all know those people that talk over you and try to use these fancy terms, ARV, amortization. You know, it just, sellers hate that stuff. Okay. I tell you guys all this. You know this. Here's my rule. Get the difficult part done of wholesaling up front. What do I mean by that? It's not attacking price and comps, meaning your offer. It's getting the best deal humanly possible. How do I do that? You have to go for no. You have to go for no. What do I mean by going for no? I got a million videos on this, and I'm here to tell you, when you make your first offer to your seller, the response should be no and probably a lot of words after it. Why? Well, Rick, why do I want to know? Because I want to counter, or I want to see where that seller is going to wind up. Okay. And a lot of people compare this playing the poker. I don't, because like poker, I lose. Like I'm not good at it. I don't have a poker face. When it comes to wholesaling, you don't need to know that. You just need to understand that you have to get a no. Because the worst thing you can do as wholesaling is offer someone a price and have them stick out their hand and go, I'll take it. It is the worst feeling. And I promise you, you will not most likely do that deal because you probably overpaid for it. So when I make an offer, I'm going to try to get a no. It's not because I don't want to buy the property. It's because I want to get the best price possible. If you get an initial no, you kind of know where they are in the numbers. And by the way, No is just a starting point for me. No doesn't mean we're done, it's over. Like no means okay, let's get into it. Let's find out what your issues are, the stuff I haven't addressed in my presentation, and let's find a number that's going to work for both of us. Okay? And that's how I walk through people. So if somebody said you make an offer and they say absolutely no to you, don't give up. It just needs they need more information or they might need some more time. So I'm going to give you techniques to get through it. So these are the ground rules for attacking. Okay. And when I talk about price reductions, here's the key. If you do the difficult part up front and you get the best price possible, you don't have to do a million price reductions. Some things are out of your control. Sometimes the house is more screwed up than you anticipated. You locked it up. And I'm all about locking up properties. Okay. But you don't want to be reckless in doing it. Okay. I'll give you different techniques on how this works. And by the way, eventually everybody I'm talking to on the stream will need a price reduction. It's just how the business works. If you're not asking for price reductions, you're not making enough offers. Okay. So asking price should never influence what you offer. Repeat this. I need everybody to repeat this on the stream. What the seller's asking price should never influence what you offer them. So many times you guys get intimidated when the person goes, I need $300,000 for this house. And it throws you way out of whack. So here's a little tip. If you've qualified your seller and you decided to go on a physical appointment, or maybe you're doing this virtually, and they throw out a price, do me a favor, ignore it. Ignore it. Don't let it sway you, because honestly, it's just a shot over the bow. That's all it is. A lot of times you're going to see how stupid you are, or if you're a sucker, you would even entertain a bet like that. And if you do, they probably know you're not very serious, or you have a lot of money and you don't care. That's neither the case for most wholesalers. So many of you guys freak out when they throw the price out. I'm telling you, when they throw you a price, okay, let's take it. And here's what I tell them, I guess it's great. Let me look at everything and let's see where the numbers lie. Okay. So many of you go, oh my God, he said 300,000. I don't think I can offer anything less than 280. So you let the person's ask price affect how you make the offer. And that's where you get thrown off. What they ask for should be irrelevant. And if you use that as a gauge, you're never going to be a good wholesaler, because you're never going to get a great deal. Because if you take their suggested price, you're just an order taker. You might as well go to McDonald's and order a number 1 or a number 2. Although I prefer the Big Mac, whichever. Maybe that's a number 3. Somebody can tell me. So, okay. Remember, the ask price is the wish price. I hear the word ask. It's like a 4-letter word to me. I don't like it. It sounds very realtor-ish, and it's what they're asking for. So if you ever ask something, it's what you get, which is most important. So ignore it is the best advice I can give you. Honestly, it took me about 12 years to accept this philosophy. And when you do it, it stops influencing what you offer on the price. Okay. So when I hear the word ask, I know it's a wish list. So if he asks 300, I don't even care. Okay. I want to focus on what the seller needs, right? When somebody asks for a price, it's what they want. And what you're trying to get to as a wholesaler is find out what the seller needs. So you have to talk from a fundamental standpoint on that, and understand this. Whenever you talk to a seller the first time on the phone, or you meet them in person, they're never going to roll over and tell you how screwed up this property is or their life is. So you have to walk them through a process. So if you're going to discount them based on the first ask price they shoot over your bow, and probably half the sellers do it, you're going to be wiped out more than 50% of the time. Okay. Matt says the Big Mac is the number 1. Now you got me hungry, and I got to go running after this. And now I got to think about Big Macs. Is it Thousand Islands that's on those Big Macs? Somebody fill me in, man. Somebody had to work at McDonald's. I think they just take Thousand Island dressings and just like pour it on top. Anyways. So let's talk about price reduction techniques. Okay. Number 1, don't be greedy. Let me give you an example. If you got a deal from someone, I don't care what their age is, and they gave you a ridiculous offer price. Let me give an example. I remember when I was out in the field, I was training one of my acquisitions people, and I was teaching them like how to ask, go for the no. I had a little old lady and she was perfectly capable of making a decision. I said, what do you need to get for this property? And she instantly spit out $15,000. Now, my knees buckled. I'm going to be honest with you. It threw me off. Okay. And some of you guys will think, well, you know what? I got to go for a no. Honestly, if somebody offers you a crazy price, unless they're hiding from us, just take it. Like, what am I going to get her down to 10, 12? I mean, the property was worth $75,000. So I made, I think I like a $40,000 fee off of it. What I'm saying is sometimes people do price reductions because they keep getting greedier and greedier. Don't be that person. Okay. If you're getting a good discount, stick to it and follow through on it. Okay. I do not try to do price reductions on people that are taking care of me, meaning they make the deal easy. They gave me a phenomenal price up front. They didn't give me a fight. They've given me easy access. I never ask for a discount from those people because their cooperation alone is worth the payment in gold. Okay. I do ask for reductions from people that are difficult, want too much for their properties, and stand in their own way of getting a good deal done. You guys are talking about McDonald's. You're killing me, man. Okay. Number two, if you're going to get a reduction, if you have to have a reason, there's nothing worse than asking for a reduction just because I'm a wholesaler, I'm an investor, and I need a cheaper price. Don't do it, guys, because that's what's going to put you in the used car sales class, and you have to have a reason to have a reduction. So let's break down the type of reductions you're going to get. And I broke this down. Simple. Okay. Number one, small adjustments, minor amounts. And these happen all the time. The big adjustments, those are a pain in the butt. And I'm going to walk you through on how those come up and how you have to do them. I'm going to talk about inspection adjustments. And then I'm going to talk about the get out of the contract adjustments, one of my favorites. So those are the four types of, I got to change the price on this thing now. And let's walk through each scenario and figure out how to do this. So number one, the big adjustments. Okay. A big adjustment to me is 15% or higher. I probably shoot closer to 20. Honestly, when I have to get like a big reduction, like sometimes we just miss prices. And a lot of times it's not that we missed the price points or the comps. We underestimated how much work the house needed. And this is actually quite common. And honestly, guys, these are kind of easy because you have a reason to get a reduction. Okay. But before you do this, if you have to do a massive reduction, you need to review the motivation of the seller again, because often I find when you guys need massive reductions, the motivation was never really there. And you're kind of asking almost the difficult scenario. So whenever there's a huge spread, 20, 25% plus, go back and go, okay, what was this guy or gal's motivation? And if the motivation's not there, understand you're going to have a massive struggle on your hands. And you got to okay, maybe I just missed their motivation and they're just asking for way too much. Okay. I find that things that need huge adjustments, often it needs time with the correction. What do I mean by time? Sometimes you got to wait a week or two to get that adjustment for them to accept it. Okay. Here's the biggest tip I can give to you. When you have to do a massive price adjustment because either you screwed up the price, and guys, I've done this. I did it recently on a big deal. And instead of just saying, sometimes you can just say listen, I missed the target. The repairs were much more than I ever thought they were going to be. Inflation is causing a lot of these issues right now because what you thought was a $10,000 or $15,000 rehab could be 50. So it's not uncommon for these people to come back and go, oh my God, dude, Whoppers. I do like Whoppers. Anyways, so on a big adjustment, a lot of times you have to call a bluff. And what do I mean by a bluff? Sometimes you just got to call them to the table. Like, Mr. Seller, I know you need 300,000. I can't do more than 180. Well, if you can't, listen, if it can, I can't do it. If not, the deal just doesn't work out. I got to go and move on to greener pastures. And sometimes you just have to walk away. So remember, whenever you're doing wholesaling, you actually, as bad as we all want to do the deal, you have to show the posterity of, I don't need this deal and I can easily walk out of here. And sometimes I'm probably doing myself a favor if I don't buy this property type of deal. So Here's the secret. When you call a bluff, you can correct it if you want to. So say an example, he goes, listen, Rick, it's 300,000. I said, listen, um, I know I offered you 300,000, but honestly, I grossly underestimated what the repairs were going to be on it. Like we're talking AC, a roof. I got to adjust this thing by $100,000. And if you can't do it, like I understand, let's just move on. Like I've tried, but honestly, the numbers just don't work. Either one or two things are going to happen. Either they're just going to like, hey, forget it, I can't work with you, or they're going to try to counter you, and you'll have to make a decision. That's where the bluff comes in. You decide how much you want to hold. This is where time will help you out. So let me differentiate what I call price separators. Sometimes we get people, and I'm going to help you out here because I want you to get the right price when you go under contract. That's the time to do it. But I don't want you to be so paralyzed you try to write the perfect contract that you don't write the contract. So understanding somewhat you're guessing in the beginning based on their motivation. Every now and then when I get someone, say offer $100,000 for the house and say they want $400,000. I thought I qualified them. I get there. They kind of changed the script on me. When you ever have those sellers get so far apart, you're like, the heck am I doing here? And here's what they're doing. They're calling your bluff, or they're absolutely insane and crazy. It can be in either one of them. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And so when I do that, I do what a price separator is. So one of the first techniques, when they throw me such a crazy price, by the way, when they throw you a crazy price, they're flip-flopping you and they're trying to get a reaction out of you to see how much you'll pay for it. Don't fall for it. Here's what you do. Hey, John, how did you come up with that number? And just give them like a scrunchy face. Go, just kind of shake your hands and let them explain it. And if they start going, well, Susie looked up this one and it was listed for that. Okay, so what's her address? And then I'll make a mental note of it, or I'll make a mental note of it because I don't believe in like bringing notepads and stuff. Okay, so Susie next door, we can look up that price and verify it. That's great. And keep going. Oh, well, my realtor said this, my cousin said this, my lawyer said this. So you just got some random opinions and came up with the price. Okay. And that's what I do. I want them to second guess their entire price. The second one is when they're so far off, when they start separating the property for what the property is worth and what they need personally. Here's an example. Hey, Rick, I need that $300,000 price because I got to bail my sister out of jail, and I got to fund Johnny for 4 years in college, and I need exactly $300,000. So honestly, when you get people who start talking about what they need outside the house, you've got to bring them back to reality. So an old friend of mine taught me this, so I'd like to take credit for it, but it's not my statement, but it works really well. So here's how it goes. I tell you what, John, let's take a look and see what the house can afford, and we'll see what number we can come up with. And it totally shifts them back like, oh crap, he needs to know what the house is worth. I'm giving him a wish list and a crazy ask price. And that's what I do. Price separators, guys, use them when somebody's so far off on their number. Don't engage it because you're never going to win it. Just separate yourself from it. Go, how'd you come up with that number? And just sit back and see if they can explain it. They can never explain it. And everything they tell you is usually a lie, and you can go back and verify it, and it gives you reasons to do a better price. Or you ask them what the house is going to afford, because I'm not here to put your kids through college and bail your sister out of jail. So the real issue here, guys, is motivation. Okay. So let's go back. Let's do this. I didn't do, I'm going to go through, let me back up here. Because small adjustments. Here's my opinion on small adjustments. Anything that is 10 to 15%, I like that, guys, because it means you're close and you're not far away, and you just have to play with them a little bit. Okay. I engage them and I try to get the best price possible. Please don't walk away from small differences because they're easy, in my opinion. Honestly, if 10 to 15% having someone stop from working with you on a problematic property, it is your job to close them. And that's how you have to look at it. Okay. So here's what I do. I had the slide in here, but somehow I didn't put it in here. I'm going to offer incentives to get the deal done. And this is where you can talk about closing costs. We're going to work fast. And remember, I'm not going to parade a million people through your house. And remember, we talked about like honoring and making sure, we don't bother grandma and stuff like that. I want to let you know I'm not going to do any of that to you. And I just reassure them through trust. And I ask them at the end of the day, I go, listen, you might get 10 or 15% more if you go with someone like me, but you might have to wind up listing the property and you're going to have to go through the entire parade show. And you told me you didn't want to do inspections. You told me you didn't want a bunch of people parading through the house. And you told me you don't like working with realtors. Did I miss something? AKA, guys, if you have a small price difference, go back and remind them why they called you. Accentuate their pain points in a good way, meaning, listen, I get it. The house is a lot to handle. You've got better things to do with your time. You got to take care of grandma. Let me take this over. Let me get you the money. Going with me, I'm going to solve one problem for you. I'm going to give you peace of mind. I'm going to give you security, and you know it's done. That's it. That should be able to close your 10 to 15% for any property that needs a cash buyer. That's how I do it, and I hang in there, and that's what I do. Now, every now and then, when we're 10 to 15, maybe we're 10% apart, I know the AC is not running because it's 85 degrees in there, and we're in the middle of August, and I see roof leaks. I'll go ahead and put it under contract, but I'm going to come back with them. I go, listen, at this price, I've got to bring a professional in to come and inspect the property. 9 times out of 10, when I say that, they get that grimace look on their face. They're like, I don't want to do that. I go, listen, I offered you a price where I don't have to do any of that. But like these numbers, I've got to verify your air conditioning is running. It's a little warm in here. And that's how I do it. Honestly, guys, if you're 10 to 15% apart, it is your job to close them. How do I close them? I just go back and I remind them why they called me. And then I remind them the reason you want to work with me is because I'm going to give you security. I'm going to get this done. You're going to get peace of mind, and you know the deal's done. The other way you want to do it, you have that right to do it. But remember, you have to go through inspections. You might have to go through a realtor. And I don't know how long it's going to take. And in the end, how much money are you really going to get? Okay. Inspection adjustments. These are easy. So a lot of times the inspection is often just us doing it. Let's be reality. If you got a really bad house, cracked foundation, a whole different story. So an inspection adjustment is real simple. You come back with a list. 9 times out of 10, I already know what the problem is with the house. I just got to find a way to present it to them. So either I'm going to hire an inspector, I'm going to use a contractor, or I'm going to use a friend that has knowledge, and I'm going to go through and have them do it. Now, some of them are paid, some of them are free. I like the free aspect, but some sellers want to see a number and they see it from a third party and they feel like, okay, I get it. But when I have a massive spread, like we missed the roof, the AC, here's how I get a price reduction. Okay. Hey, Mr. Seller, listen, I appreciate my guy looked at the house. I go, where do I send the cancellation? And I just shut up. Just shut up. Don't say a word. Okay. These are on the big price ones, not the small ones. Why do you do this? You're looking for a reaction. Okay. Let me let you on a little secret. You don't technically, just because you say you're going to cancel the contract doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. You're just looking for a reaction. You're looking for this. Rick, what can I do to keep you in this deal? And then you just go right into your reduction. It's perfect. I've never had a seller go, yeah, just go ahead and send it over here. They usually want to get the deal done. They know what the issue is. They just need a verification on it. Okay. So inspections, the get out of the contracts, it's the same deal. If you have a massive difference, they're not like seeing eye to eye. If you have a 10-day inspection on day 7 or 8, I'm just going to go back to them and go, listen, I need to adjust it. Now, while I'm thinking about getting the adjustment, I'm still actively looking for cash buyers to see if I can get a bird in hand. So guys, if I'm buying a property for 100, I already got somebody at 110, but I know the AC's bad. I know the roof's got some issues and my buyer's okay with it. I'm going to go in and try to get that reduction because it's needed. Okay. Why? Because I think I'm worth more than $10,000 and the house needs it. And I go in and I fight. I don't always get it. What's my worst case scenario? I make 10 grand. What's my best case scenario? I can make 30, 40 grand. It happens all the time. Remember, I don't go after reduction on people that take care of me in the wholesaling business. I just feel like it's karma if you keep asking people for discounts. Now, difficult sellers, I beat them up for discounts all the entire length of the transaction because they're beating me up. I'm going to go back and nickel dime them Remember, if you don't nickel and dime, if someone doesn't nickel and dime you, you shouldn't nickel and dime them back. Okay. So we talked about that one. The real issue is always comes down to motivation, guys. And remember, I always tell you, a lot of your sellers don't even know the problems they're facing and they don't understand it. So just like a homeowner with a retail house hires a realtor to get the best price, a wholesaler has the same opportunity. The seller is hiring you to get the best deal possibly done in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of resistance for what they consider a fair price. That's it. So a lot of times you have to guide the seller to help them get out of their own way. I've walked into the seller's house. I've seen holes in the house. I've seen open roofs to like, what's the problem? Like, the problem is you're so numb to it. You don't even realize how bad the issue is. And I honestly feel obligated to help them out as long as they're reasonable. Okay. So Sean says here, I don't want you guys to misquote me. I beat them up for discounts. I beat up people who beat up me. You want to fight and holler and do all this stuff with me? I'm not going to holler, but I'm going to give you resistance the entire time, all the way to the closing table, because that's what's needed to get the deal done. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, very few of these people do I ever wind up doing a deal with anyways. So it's like, but every now and then you got to put a property. I love putting properties under contract where they're in really bad shape. And I know they need someone just like me or you. And that I will wait them out and I'll get the right price and I'll make the whole thing work. So here's one thing I'm going to leave you with. You ready? The facts never, ever change, and especially in real estate. So if the AC is bad, it's bad. You can't spin it either way. You just have to verify it. Here's the challenge. The facts never change, but the truth does. Do you know what the definition of truth is? It's one's interpretation of what's going on in their life with the current facts they have at the time. How many times have you guys made a decision to go, okay, this is the truth, only to find out like a month or two later, I'm like, God, I was an idiot. That wasn't even true at all. So when we say truth, do you know truth is just someone's interpretations of the fact at a certain point in time? So understanding sellers, even though they think they're speaking the truth, they don't understand the truth until you as the wholesaler tries to explain the entire transaction to them. And I'm going to be honest, not everybody gets it. I get it. But the ones you can help out and get them out of their own way, you can do amazing things as a wholesaler. And this is what I live for. My main thing is I don't want you guys to mix up what we do and try to become a realtor. Because if you try to do the half realtor wholesaling thing, it's literally torture. It's like trying to be like a super strong man and like a skinny little model. Like you're not getting the best of both worlds. It just doesn't work that way. So, okay, let me take this off of here.